Hello everyone, my name is Zachary O'Shea, and this is Box of Teeth. Every October for the last few years, I have shared a monster a day for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, and this October is no different. So here is your monster a day for October 27th, 2023. What I do in October Monster Day for week 4 every year is universal antagonists. And this is where I take a creature or a villain from a horror movie, horror comic book, horror game, something like that, give it a new name, give it a twist on what it's like, and present it for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I find this useful to share with all of you for two reasons. First and foremost, I like finding inspiration from the various horror media or just media in general that I ingest, and I like being able to present that in a way that my players will understand so they can get into the tropes of that horror night, that horror event, whatever it is that I'm doing in the game, so they know how to play with those tropes and what to expect from the monster. And two, I wanted to give all of you kind of an idea of what it's like to take things that you are inspired by, give them a couple of different extra abilities, and really make them your own so it's not just a shambling pastiche that your players are going to go, oh, come on, when you present it to them. Today we're going to go over the Star-Crossed. As an entity of pure light and radiation, it is hard to fathom exactly what the Star-Crossed wants. It's also hard to predict what it will do in any given circumstance because it perceives and reacts to stimuli differently than any flesh and bone creature would. However, most suspect that it's either trying to atone for or fulfill the lives of a pair of lovers it accidentally obliterated when it arrived on this sphere. The couple, an elven male and human female, went out to watch falling stars without knowing that one of them would actually fall on top of them. The elemental can now take the shape of either creature it reduced to atoms, and in turn takes on the quirks that they may have had in life, but only in pantomime fashion, because again, it doesn't quite understand what it means to be a person. When threatened, or when it believes it's threatened, rather, the star-crossed reverts back to its natural form of unidentifiable colors and dries off the attackers with potent energy blasts and searing touches. If it takes too much damage, the entity lashes out with an alien frequency that temporarily twists the form of every living thing around it until they flee or die. All right, let's take a look at this strange color from outer space and see what statistics are like for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. It is a chaotic neutral creature because no one quite understands what it wants, and it does have a challenge rating of 8. It, unsurprisingly perhaps, has damage resistance to non-magical weapons. It's immune to damage from cold, fire, and poison, and cannot be poisoned. It also has true sight of 30 feet. It understands all languages, but cannot speak. However, it does have limited telepathy, so it can communicate basic ideas, emotions, and images to subjects within 90 feet of it. It does have resistance to all magical effects. Its big ability is mutagenic rampage. So once it goes berserk, if it's taken too much damage, then creatures around it have to make a save or start to mutate for the next 24 hours. It does have shape changer, so it can change into an elven male or a human female, which again are specifically the two lovers that it accidentally obliterated and are now part of itself. It does have a pseudopod attack that does fire damage as well as bludgeoning damage. It does have strange starlight, which is a fire attack, but also permanently reduces hit points until the creature rests. And it does have Mesmerize, where it can temporarily paralyze a creature with its sight. Now, the Star-Crossed could be used in a couple different ways. It could be just dropped in as a one-off monster that the players need to fight that's got some strange and interesting abilities, or it could be used in a more lengthy scenario where the players have to decide what they want to do. Do they want to hunt this monster? Do they want to destroy it? Do they want to have it help whatever strange goals it has so it can move on its way and atone? It's really up to the players and their mood, depending on what you want to do. And we all know they're as hard to predict as a creature made out of light and radiation, if you know what I mean. And I think you do as any dungeon master. You can, of course, find the Star-Crossed along with every creature for this October, every creature for previous Octobers, and hundreds of other horror-themed creatures for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, all perfectly free at boxofteeth.blogspot.com. If you're more interested in the non-Dungeons & Dragons horror-related content that I have, or the horror fiction that I write, including Grease Paint right there, it's got a killer clown, it's a good read for the Halloween season, you can always go to www.zacharyoshea.com. As always, I really appreciate your time and your attention. Have a great weekend, folks.